Recently, a Telugu language fantasy horror thriller movie was released, named Rakasa, which means demon. Many have already explained it. But after watching the movie, I realized that they did not discuss some important things. And they did not say anything about the post-credit scene at the end. That is why I was forced to explain the movie for you. Those who have not seen it yet will be able to enjoy it. And those who have seen it will also learn something new. Hello friends and welcome to Movie Explained Studio. Those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe now to get regular movies. So without further ado, let's move on to the story of the movie. The story begins 2000 years ago. In a mysterious village called Rakavaram. There was a huge fort in the middle of this village. A terrifying Brahma was imprisoned deep in that fort. The villagers believed that every 1,000 years, a human being had to be told to calm the demon. And even if they had received 3 warning messages before that, they still had to be told. This was said once 2,000 years ago. Then it was given 1,000 years ago. And the last time, 500 years ago from today. That too was told to an innocent child. Basically, the one who was given as a sacrifice was left on the other side of the fort. And just then, the roar of that terrible demon could be heard, a sound that made you shiver. But the Maharaja of that time, Pratap Rudravarma, could not accept all of this. He felt that these rituals were completely wrong. In any case, this mud custom had to be stopped. Just then, a soldier suddenly came and informed that another secret way to enter the fort had been found. And this moment was the perfect time to attack the Brahma demon. After that, the king attacked the Brahmarakshasa with his army. But the scary thing is that the king and his army could never return from there. Then the king's son was given a special key and was told that no one else would make the same mistake as his father. Someone in the future generation will have to continue the tradition. And from here the story moves to 2026. We are shown a bus full of wedding guests who are heading towards that village. Shari and his son Anand were deceiving everyone. They were basically selling a black thread. They were saying that it would protect people from evil forces. Only if they did not go near the fort. But we already knew that this was a complete hoax. They were actually cheating people. Just then, the main character of the movie, Bheera Babu, enters the street. Who? Everyone lovingly calls him Viru. He is actually returning to his village from America after about 10 years. Here he meets his friend Balaju. They both get on the same bus. And then Viru tells that he is actually coming to marry the girl from this village Sukanya. And the shocking thing. It turns out that the entire wedding bus was actually going for Sukanya's wedding to Mahesh. That means Sukanya's wedding to Mahesh today, but Viru had no idea about this. Because he didn't even notice that the bus had a name written on it. Basically, he studied in 4 schools in his childhood. His Telugu language was not very good. However, as soon as he reached the village, he gets a big shock. He comes to know that Sukanya had been in a relationship with many other boys before. But in the end, she decided to marry Moyesh. And all this time he fooled Viru and stole money, iPhone, and many expensive things from him. And that's why everyone in the village considered Viru to be Sukanya's elder brother. Viru was very sad to hear this. Again, when Viru suddenly came here from America, Viru's grandmother was very surprised. Because why did he suddenly come? They didn't tell him anything. Then Balarayu, meaning Balu, tells Viru to take Viru to Shari's house. Because Shari and his daughter Shivalakshi might be able to help him with this matter. Then when Viru and Balu reach there, Shivalakshi's brother Anand goes to call him. And in the meantime, Viru hears some secrets of Shari. Shari was basically talking to the village Sarpanch Parashuram and his father in a hushed voice. He was telling them that something terrible was going to happen in the village very soon. And they understood this by looking at the position of the planets and stars. Although the date and time are not yet precisely known. Just then Subbalakshi arrives. Viru and Balu scold them for eavesdropping. Viru then narrates the whole incident. Viru says that he wants to marry Sukanya. The marriage must be broken at any cost. Subbalakshi then gives Viru a black kajal. She also says that if this kajal is applied to Sukanya's waist, she will become attracted to Viru and the marriage will also break. Then Viru tries to do the same thing. But the trouble happens when he makes a mistake and applies it to Sukanya's mother's waist instead of Suk. His heart was completely broken. Sukanya had cheated him. That's why he went straight and started drinking. On the other hand, his friend Balu had drunk so much that Balu fainted there. After a while, when Subbalakshi came, Viru also gave him a few words. Because her magic spells were of no use. But Subbalakshi convinced him that there was no need to take so much tension. Because someone must be waiting for him somewhere. But just then Shari's father came. He was taking Subbalakshi. However, before leaving, Subbalakshi looked at Viru and told him to take the right side road when returning home. Don't forget to take the Baker Road. Because that road leads straight to the fort. Where that terrible Brahma demon is imprisoned. Then we see that as soon as Subbalakshi leaves, a mysterious woman stands in front of Viru. Where Viru sees him and says, "That woman is not black. I mean, is that woman like what happened in the movie, or is it a comedy scene like that?" But the funny thing is, who is this woman really? No one can understand. Was she a spirit or was she really Sukanya's mother, on whom black magic has started working? Thinking about all this, Viru's head went completely crazy. He ran away from there in fear. Again, Viru had drunk so much that he mistakenly took the left road and reached the cursed fort. There, he started talking to the idol of Brahmarakshasa again. And that's when he first saw the warning message. A meteorite fell from the sky in front of his eyes. That meant it was time for the sacrifice. On the other hand, the village Sarpanch's father was sitting in his rocking chair and relaxing. Suddenly, strange sounds started coming from a cupboard in front of him. He opens the cupboard and sees it. The 500-year-old key kept in the cupboard is glowing. He also realizes that Manabi's time has come. Just then, he sees his grandfather's spirit sitting on the rocking chair and swaying. And then a memory from his childhood comes to mind. Where his grandfather told a story. He said that no one should ever go near that fort. Otherwise, something terrible will happen. But he didn't say what would happen. Nor was it shown to us. Then we are shown that something has come to Viru. And the next morning, Viru is found unconscious in some place. Everyone in the village thought it might be a dead body. But suddenly Viru regains consciousness. Actually, he had fallen asleep due to intoxication. But still, he broke the biggest rule of the village. Because it is forbidden to go near that fort at night. But in the meantime, another strange incident happens. A named Sumu has gone missing in the village. And the check shirt that Sumu was wearing before he went missing, a torn part of the same check shirt with his blood on it, which was already hanging on a tree, has now fallen on Bheera's shoulder. That is why they suspect Bheera. In the meantime, police officer Narasimha also starts arresting Bheera. On the other hand, Bheera's friend Balu was thanking Bheera that Sumu was a smuggler. There is no harm if a person like Balu dies. But Bheera kept saying that he did nothing. However, Bheera was taken to the village Sarpanch. before being taken to the police station. There was actually another trial going on there, and it was decided to expel him from the village for a few days. There was a custom in this village that the police could not take any action before the Sarpanch's decision. So they could not take Bheera even if they wanted to. So then Parashuram was going to punish Bheera by whipping him. Music. But then Sumaya's wife Savitri arrived there. She was basically broken down with great fear. But Balu was still saying the same thing. Even if Somu died, it would not matter, because he was a smuggler. Just then the Sarpanch's father arrived. He said that without wasting his time with useless talk, a decision had to be taken quickly. And finally, it was decided that no one in the village would help Bheera's family anymore. Not with food, chess, or any other things. And along with that, Bheera was also whipped several times. Then we see that Bheera's grandmother is getting Bheera to do all the housework. Because since he came to the village, one problem after another was created. That's why they are punishing Viru. But Viru was not really a bad person. He was being wronged repeatedly. He basically didn't know anything about the rules and regulations of this village. He didn't even have any idea. Still, everyone was punishing him as Somu's murderer. Even his passport was confiscated. Another rule was added to the punishment that until Somu was found, Viru Savitri would have to pay 250 taka, although earlier Sabir had asked for $25,000 from him because he knew that Viru had come from America, which meant that he must have a lot of money. An old man of about 80 years. But a very drunk alcoholic. Meanwhile, we also see that the Sarpanch's father is talking to someone. He was saying that all this started from the day Bheera came to this village. No one should go near that fort by mistake. Otherwise, there will be a big danger. However, we did not see who exactly he was talking to. After that, Viru and Balu go to talk to Gunga. And they keep giving him alcohol every day so that he tells the truth. But all they know from him is that he used to spend time with a woman named Pankaj. Maybe they had some relationship. Meanwhile, since Viru came, only bad things have happened to him. So I hope that something good will come to my life. Bheera goes to float a lamp in the pond. Suddenly, the lamp turns over. And just then, strange animal sounds are heard around. It seemed that some evil danger is approaching. The next morning, the villagers took the Sarpanch's father to that place. And when they went there, they saw that all the animals had turned into skeletons overnight. That meant that the second warning had come. This time, they had to arrange for the sacrifice as soon as possible. That night, Bheera aka lit a fire and sat down. Just then, Subia came there. And then we came to know that Subal used to sit on the same bench with Bheera till the 9th standard. But later he failed. And from then on, Sukanya started sitting next to Bheera. Subbu even explained that he had loved Bheera for a long time. But Bheera then did not understand the matter. Then one night, Balu made Bheera clear that Subbu really loved him. His entire behavior had changed. Hearing this, Bheera was very happy. He thought that maybe his life would change completely from tomorrow. But right at the beginning of the movie that night the terrifying scene we saw, a stone comes out of hell. And on that stone was written the last warning message. This time it has to be told. Otherwise, the entire village will be destroyed. Seeing this, the villagers understand that it is time for that ritual. Everyone is a little miserable after hearing this. Because 500 years it was done before. After that, it was not done again, as if some old school took out some old school and told the whole history to the villagers. In fact, many centuries ago, a terrible epidemic spread in this village. People were dying one after another. At that time, the king resorted to black magic to save the people of the village. Meaning, he took the help of a terrible demon. And that demon was the Brahma demon. He had a deal with the king that all the people of the village would be saved. But whenever these three warnings appear, one animal from each house in the village had to be told. And these were in the fort. With him, a special family sacrificed a human being. This was the terrible agreement. In the end, the king agreed. And since then, this ritual has been going on for ages. Whenever the warning message is given, an invisible fence is created around the entire village. As a result, no one can go out of the village. Everyone is trapped inside. No one can get out until the sacrifice is complete. Because if the sacrifice is not complete, the Brahma demon will come out of the fort and destroy the entire village. But if animal sacrifices and human sacrifices are made according to the rules, then that Brahma demon will remain imprisoned inside the fort. He will protect everyone in the village. And if that is not done, he will break free and destroy the village. Just like it was supposed to happen during that epidemic. This was basically the terrible curse of this village. And if everyone wants to live, they must tell. Hearing this, everyone in the village started talking among themselves. But Parashuram gathered everyone together with one word. He said that this must be done. There will be no discussion here. The crowd also knows all this. But he is not angry about the sacrifice but is even more angry for another reason. Because his question is if it is forbidden to go near the fort at night, then why are Parashuram and the rest of the village people going there? He goes there to seek the answer to this question and justice. But no one was paying attention to his words at that time. Just then Parashuram placed that mysterious key on the forehead of the Brahma demon statue in a place where a hole had been made earlier. Surprisingly, the key slowly went inside. At the same time, a strange chamber opened from under the ground. There was originally a box kept there. And inside that box was a full school. The people of the village. Information is much more mysterious. After seeing all this, Viru gets a little serious after hearing the word sacrifice. Because now he starts to feel that something really strange is happening inside the village. Then a secret pillar is set up in front of Shari Parashuram and the other people of the village. This pillar will decide who will be sacrificed. This pillar originally had a red-colored garland and a nail hanging from it. Shari then reminds everyone again that there is a demon inside the fort. 500 years ago, that demon had eaten a child as a sacrifice. The people of the village then discussed that whoever is not yet married or has no responsibilities should be chosen for the sacrifice. However, there were some rules even within this. In fact, the entire village was divided into 4 parts. And no one from the part from which the sacrifice was made last time will be chosen this time. So then a special lamp is said that if anyone from the remaining 3 parts of the village wants to, he can voluntarily mark himself for the sacrifice by extinguishing the fire with his own hands. But naturally no one wants to do that. So this time they choose one of their own. They choose that Gangaya. I mean that drug addict. Old grandfather. Hearing this, Veer gets very angry. Veer knows very well that they will sacrifice him. That is why he devises a plan to help Gangaya escape from there. But then Parashuram brings his men and takes Gangaya from there. That means this time he will be the one to be prepared for Pali. But poor Gangaya misunderstood the whole thing. It seemed to her that maybe she was going to get married to that Pankajam. Meanwhile, Veer comes and gets angry at Subariu. He says, "You are the girl of this generation. You should stop everything. Saying this. But just then Subariyu comes in front of us in a flashback, where we see his father Shari and the Sarpanch's father talking to each other. They were basically saying that there was another secret way to enter the fort. But no one should know about this. Hearing this, Subwa got an idea. Subwa went straight to the Sarpanch's house so that he could find the secret way by following those instructions. On the other hand, Ganga was moving forward very happily. But Viru started dancing so that he could escape by taking a chance. And here a strange incident happened. Ganga died while dancing. I mean, she could have easily become a sacrifice. But for Viru, everything was going to be ruined again, which has happened before. And Parashuram had already thought that something like this could happen. So they had already chosen Balu as the second name. After knowing about Balu, Viru got even angrier. He shouted in front of everyone that there was nothing inside the fort. You guys prove to me that there really is something inside. Viru once put out the fire of the lamp with his own hand in excitement. And through this, he marked himself for sacrifice. That is, he was trying to make himself big. But at that very moment, the roar of the Brahmarakshasa came from inside the fort. After hearing that, his heroism stopped completely. Now there was nothing to do. Because this time he would really be sent into the fort as a sacrifice. As a result, Subbiya is now standing helplessly and just looking at Viru. Because he had come to help Viru. But now the whole game has turned upside down. Where someone else was supposed to go, now Viru will be sent. Even Subbiya could not speak to Viru for the last time. Bail was also very broken. Anyway, after entering the fort, Viru saw a very scary trap. Because this fort once belonged to the king. Normally, the king's fort is supposed to keep treasures or various items. It is natural that there will be traps to protect them. But somehow Viru crosses them. That's when he feels someone running after him. At first he gets scared. But then he sees that it is none other than Samu. That means that Somu, who escaped from the village, that is, he did not die. He was inside the fort, talking to Somu. Then Somu introduces himself to Viru as an export-import officer. He says that he is in the business of sending foreign sandalwood. Looking at the torn part of the shirt, it is understood that this is actually Somu, whom everyone calls a smuggler. However, when Viru asks him the reason for coming here, Somu eventually tells the whole truth. As if it was his wife Savitri's entire plan. That means Savitri knew everything in advance. Still, he was collecting money from Viru. Actually, Savitri came to know that there is another secret way to enter the fort. And maybe there is a huge treasure hidden inside this fort. So she thought that the village Sarpanch was actually making up a story about a demon and scaring everyone. That is why she sent Somu inside the fort with a bag music so that he could find the treasure. And Somu came here because of the fear of his wife. But while going towards the fort, Somu got stuck in a tree branch and got torn. And there was blood there. And probably when Viru was passing through that path, and then he fell asleep in the intoxicated room. He also told Somu that after entering the fort, he started hearing all sorts of terrible noises. That is why he tried to return through the secret path. But it was not possible to get out through that path. That is, once you enter through that path, it is not possible to get out. Because it seemed to him that some invisible wall had blocked the entire way. And thus he has been stuck inside the fort for the last 10 days. He even saw a black shadow moving around behind him. That means there was really something inside this fort that was moving in the darkness. Hearing all this, Viru was completely shocked. Because there was no way out of here. Somu told Viru that there was a big hole under the ground, on which a huge stone was buried. He thought that maybe a way out could be found through that. That is why the two of them tried to dig up that stone. But just then a bat flew through there. But in a moment, it burned to ashes in the fire. And then for the first time, that giant demon came in front. His whole body was on fire. That demon started attacking both of them. But both of them got scared and went to a place and hid. On the other hand, Shari kept his daughter Subo inside the house. Because he knew very well that Subo loved Bheera. Somehow, he might go to the fort to save Bheera. Meanwhile, Shari kept his son Anand there, so that Subo could not come out of the house. Meanwhile, Viru and Sumu were sitting in the dark inside the fort. It was so dark that they lit a match and lit a torch. And then their eyes fell on a skeleton in front of them. At first, they were scared seeing the skeleton. But then they saw something written in Telugu on the wall. But Viru could not read it. Because even though he studied in school as a child, Cheryl, his Telugu was never good. Samu then started reading those texts. And from here we come across the story of the then King Pratap and his soldiers. What actually happened when they went to kill the demon? This whole incident was carved on the wall by this soldier. And written. Actually, after telling that child, King Brahma was looking for a way to kill the demon for many years. For this, he went to a magician. He told him that the demon should be killed not with strength, but with strategy. Because every demon has a weakness. And Brahma was there. To finish off the demon, the magician gave the king two things. One was a powder with mint. If you use it, the Brahma demon will become weak. And the second is two knives. One made with the power of the sun and the other with the power of the moon. If these two knives are placed together on the demon's back, then he will die. But the soldier who wrote these things on the wall also saw a terrible secret. He saw the demon take his magical human form and come out through the secret passage of the fort. And this is the passage through which Somu and the others entered the fort. And Sub still knows about this passage. But the soldier noticed one thing that day, that the demon was very happy that day. And here comes the biggest question. If he was really imprisoned in the fort, how did he get out? That means he was not a prisoner. And why would he be happy if he was a prisoner? Basically, that soldier told the king about it. And after that, the king entered the fort with his army. The king was only able to place the knife with the power of the sun on the body of the evil demon. Before the second one could kill him, the demon took on its true form and killed the king. At that time, the knife with the power of the moon fell into a secret chamber. Then the soldier somehow escaped from there. And right at this place, music, he wrote everything on the wall. He also wrote that the only way out of here is to kill the Brahma demon. Even the chamber where the second deck is requires him to pull the levers on both sides together to open it, but he couldn't do it because he was alone. However, he hid a map of where the chamber was located in his pendant so that if anyone from the village comes to kill the demon in the future, he can use it. After that, the soldier slowly dies there, which means the skeleton belongs to the soldier. Veer couldn't believe it. But that's when they found the pendant. And Samu reminds him that they saw the demon with their own eyes. That means these are not stories. This is the real truth of this village. Then they realize that the demon is roaming around. So they quickly move away from there. Because if they were there, their situation might be like that soldier. On the other hand, Suburya frees his brother Subbu and locks his father in the house, so that Subbu can save Viru. When Subbu comes near the fort, he sees Balu there too. Baloo was originally trying to go inside to save his friend No. And he didn't even know about that secret entrance. But to come to civilization, they both entered the fort through that path together. Meanwhile, inside the fort, Viru and Somu had left the soldiers' place and gone to another place. There, Somu started talking to someone like a madman. Actually, it was his imaginary girlfriend. Because he had almost gone mad after being stuck here for 10 days, then they tried to open the soldier's pendant but couldn't open it at all. Just then, someone's voice came from somewhere and they started running forward in fear, but it was funny. The thing is, Subu and Baloo had entered right behind them, but after entering, they also got separated. Then Viru and Somu reached a place and there Viru started telling his love story with Subu, but then Somu and the real Subu came from behind. That means the Subu that Viru had seen until now was not actually Subu. He was the mysterious spirit. The one whom Somu had seen on the first day before entering the fort. The people of the village believe that the spirit was Patni. And this time Patni was not letting go of Viru's hand in any way. Just then, Subhubudhikati threw a sacred rope in front of him. As soon as he read it, the soul let go of Bhiru's hand. Because he could never cross the rope. But here a question remains, how did the rope get here? Why was it kept here? Because it is not possible to tie the demon bomb with it. This means that it was clearly understood that black magic was once done inside the palace of Durga. And the mystery here is actually very deep. Then the four of them sat down and started discussing everything. They also showed Subu that pendant. Subu said that he already knew that once they entered this fort, no one would be able to get out without killing the demon bomb. No. It means that Subu really loved Bhiru. And that is why even after knowing that, he came to save Bhiru. Meanwhile, Somu and Baloo were also having a fight. And that was about Savitri music. Actually, Somu and Baloo were once very good friends. But later Baloo started drinking heavily. And at that time, he developed a relationship with Savitri. But later, Somu trusted Baloo and married Savitri. Because of this, there was so much trouble between the two. And here it is understood why Baloo kept saying that there was no problem even if Somu died. He even kept saying that Viru did the right work. Anyway, Subu then told everyone that just as there was a secret way to enter the fort, there was also a separate way to get out of here. And that soldier had also written on the wall that 2 knives should be placed together on the demon's back. But there was another important condition with this. All this had to be done before the sun rose. Otherwise, nothing would work. Again, tonight was the night of the eclipse. They gave the pendant to Suburya. Basically, the symbols on it had to be set according to the position of the eclipse. By doing that, the lock of the pendant was opened. Here too, the sun and the moon have a special importance. Music. But while going to that place, a question was nagging at Bheera's mind, why hasn't the demon attacked them yet? What kind of demon is this one that just wanders around? Just then, in his hurry, he made a big mistake and tore off a part of the map. And as soon as he placed that piece on the map, Bheera suddenly remembered something. Because according to the information of that soldier, if you pull the levers on both sides of a special room together, the door to that chamber will open. But since he was alone, he couldn't do it. That means now music they have to pull the levers on both sides of that room together. Only then will the gate open. That's why Subu and Viru and Sumayu and Baloo plan to go together. And this has to be done at exactly 5 in the morning. Only then will the gate open. Meanwhile, they were doing that trick on Sumayu and Baloo again. But music he couldn't come near them because of that sacred rope. Then Balu started climbing up the tree by climbing up music even while Sumaya was standing. And finally he reached the lever. Meanwhile, Viru was praising himself that he was a real hero. Because he thought that he had returned here after 10 years just to finish off the demon. Just then, suddenly, they got stuck in a trap. In a moment, Viru and Subya were hanging upwards. And then it was seen that the soldiers who had come here before had also been stuck in this trap in the same way. Their skeletons were still there. And the reason for this was that there was no one to pull the lever on the other side. Then with great difficulty they reached the lever while hanging. And at 5 o'clock the door of that room opened due to pulling the lever together on both sides. Due to which Viru and Subbu also survived. Then everyone entered that room. Where the various weep even there was the green powder that Mont used to weaken the demon Bhima. They immediately filled the powder in a pot. So that the demon could throw it at him when he came. Just then, Viru's eyes fell on the ankle of a small skeleton. Funny trick. He picked it up. After searching a little more, he found that knife of moon power. And just then, the Brahma demon arrived. A terrible fight began. But the demon only kept Viru hanging in the air. Because Viru had been selected for sacrifice. Meanwhile, when the others tried to run, the Montupura went to run, it got stuck on the ceiling. After a lot of difficulty, it landed on Samar's shirt. Samar bravely moved towards the demon. But he could not go in fear. Subba was falling down again after being hit. And then the Suburya pile gets stuck with the burning torch. Immediately, with a clanging sound, the demon suddenly becomes completely calm. His eyes, which were burning like fire all this time, also gradually turn blue and calm down. The crowd also immediately runs towards him with the knife. But surprisingly, he does not stab the demon in the neck with the knife, but instead removes the knife with the power of the sun that was already attached to his body. Then, when the demon approaches him, Viru hands him the pile. Seeing which, the demon becomes completely calm. After that, the real mystery of the movie comes to the fore. Actually, 500 years ago, the Brahma demon did not accept the child who was sacrificed here because it was a little girl. Seeing that innocent child, the Brahma demon could not kill her. He did not understand what kind of person it was who was not afraid of seeing her. The demon then gradually calmed down and returned to his human form, and then he started raising that little girl like his own child. He was loving and raising that child like his own daughter. The hero understood this by looking at the things scattered around the fort. Because there were toys, things used by small children, and even a small child's handprint on the wall. And looking at all this, it was clear that the demon had arranged everything for that child, starting from milk. That means she could go out of the fort whenever she wanted. But then when the girl was 5 years old, the girl asked him for real flowers. That is why the demon opened the second secret door. Music and the soldier saw her while going through that door to bring flowers. That's why the demon was very happy that day. Because he had found true love for the first time. That's why he hadn't accepted any sacrifices until now. But then the most terrible thing happened. When the king attacked, an arrow hit the little girl. The girl died immediately. That means the little skeleton that was in the fort was the child's skeleton. That's why the Brahma demon killed the king and the entire army. So think about who the real demon is. The one who accepted sacrifices for years but couldn't kill the little girl. On the other hand, he told an innocent child. How cruel the people of the village were. That's why the Bhumaya demon attacked everyone until now. Because he thought that they were all human beings like the king's soldiers. But seeing the anklet in Bheeru's hand, the spirit of that little girl came and stood in front of the demon Bhumi. After that, both of them were basically freed from there. Probably because of love, the curse of the demon Bheera was also over, and then Viru, Samu, Balu, and Subbu all came out of the fort. The entire village was surprised to see them come back alive. Because till date, no one who went to that fort as a sacrifice has ever come back. But here, one thing was very suspicious. The Sarpanch and his father must have been hiding something mysterious. Because their facial expressions were different. And why wouldn't they let anyone go near the fort at night? I mean, maybe there is some secret juice hidden somewhere. And after that, basically, a scene is shown at the end of our movie, where Samu tells Viru, Balu, and Shavo that the day he entered the fort on the first night, he heard some strange noise inside. And right then we are shown a secret entrance, which is closed with an iron chain. Now this could be the second secret path, which the villagers later closed. Or it could be another new secret path through which the Sarpanch and his father used to travel secretly. I mean, there is definitely a big mystery hidden here. And the biggest question is that mysterious woman in the village. Who was she really? Why was the spirit of that wife roaming inside the fort? Whose spirit was it? These questions are not answered here. However, according to Suburya, that music spirit took the form of Suburya. Because the wife usually takes the form of the people she loves the most. And finally, until the Super vs love story is revealed to each other. From here it is clearly explained that part 2 of this movie will come, where more secrets will be revealed. This is how the story of the movie Rakasa basically ends. So, how did you like the story of the movie? Do let us know in the comments. If you like the video, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in another movie or series explanation video. Until then, stay well and healthy. Allah Hafez.